Okay, what I'm going to cover today is just the project 2 that the way I did it. What I was going to do was open up a couple of others the way students did it, and I may go ahead and look in the Google Drive. If anyone wants to come online and ask questions or wants me to look at your project 2, I would be glad to do that also. So just let me know. But as it stands right now, I'm just going to open up Project 2, read it, and then I'll show you the pseudocode and flowchart that that I did for the problem and also the Python, and then I'll load those into Evernote. So if we look here, first of all, at the Evernote, or actually I'm going to open it up here where I have it. The project 2. Okay, so the problem was to take what you did in project 1, and this was the problem in project 1, and modify it. And so I first stated the problem as it was in project 1, which was that Mathis Brothers Furniture Store gets desk lamps and coffee tables from your company. Each desk lamp costs $65 and each coffee table cost 155. Oh, write a flowchart or pseudocode, and I did say JavaScript in here, which it should say Python source code for a program which Mathis Brothers can run on your website to compute what their invoice total will be when they order a certain number of lamps and coffee tables from your company. The program will prompt Mathis Brothers buying clerk to first enter the number of desk lamps they wish to purchase and then ask them the number of coffee tables they would buy. Next, you would ask the type of wood of the coffee tables, which would make a call to a function or method, whichever you want to call it. Then the program would compute the cost of their purchase and print that to the console. Use your project 1 as a starting place. So here are the details on modifying project 1. You're to create a function to do the following. In addition to the input requested, which remember there was 2 input fields, number of desks and number of lamps. For inventory, you need to request the type of wood that the coffee tables are, including the following options stated in your request. Use if-else. If it's mahogany, add $75 per table. If it's oak, add $100 per table. If it's pine, no charge is added. Output all input. Use named constants where appropriate. Hint, extra fees for type of wood and cost of items. Those should be the 2 constants. Actually, there'll be more than 2 because you will have mahogany as a constant, oak as a constant, and then you will also have the $65 and the $155 all as constants. So you are to submit the flowchart and pseudocode, then the Python, zip the files into a file named p2_yourname.zip. And I noticed when I was doing a little grading on the first test that some students named their file .zip instead of zipping the file. And that really did seem to work okay, but it's not necessary to name it .zip, but I'll put the details in your test, and I can just download the whole thing if it's a zipped file. So I'll show you the difference here in a minute if I can remember someone that did it that way. Then your test run is to run it with the desk lamps being 2, the coffee tables being 3, and the wood type being mahogany. And something that you had to remember is that if you spelled mahogany with a capital M, it did not compare it and think it was the same thing as with a lowercase m. And then do 2 and 3 with oak. And you can do as many other runs as you want. This is just to show you so that you'll know that you have done it correctly, because this gives you what your total should be on each run. This one was 670, the next one was 695. Okay, so now we will open the pseudocode that I created. And remember, pseudocode is really more for, let me see what this is here. Oh, I see what it is. Okay, so the pseudocode and flowchart are really for you, whatever makes the most sense to you. But we're going to look at this one that I created here. This is a rough draft for the pseudocode for Project 2. And so I went ahead and actually did it similar to what you would do if you were using the Python. I went ahead and coded a function called would type. I declared the constants inside that function. And so I went ahead and included the float. But if your pseudocode is a little more simple than this, that's fine also. Let me see, I thought I did do it. Not exactly. Oh, here was the one that I believe that I was supposed to have opened instead of the one that I did. No, maybe not. All right. So anyway, on this pseudocode, what I would like to say is that if you did not use Python, that's great. That's really better pseudocode. I went ahead, I'm not sure, I think I was doing this with a student in my office, and that's why I did it that way. I went ahead and did the actual Python there, and that's why it says Project 1 Python. Or I'm sorry, Project 2 pseudocode, Project 2 Python, and I guess I did not do a flowchart. So if we were doing the flowchart, I did do the flowchart in Project 1, I believe. But here, if we wanted to go ahead and do the flowchart, I will go over here to Lucidchart. And I'm going to start with a blank document. I'm going to add a new blank document here. Okay, this one is Project 2. Oops. And there we go. All right, so I'm going to start with the ellipse. Then I would have, if I look at the way I actually coded it here, I have my input for the desk lamps and the coffee tables in the main program. And then I ask the would type there also. Then is the call to the function, which is going to return the coffee table value. So I would start over here. I would have my 3 input variables. So my next box should be a parallelogram right here, and I'll go ahead and enter these in a minute. I'm doing it a different way. You can do it whichever way is easiest to you. The next step would be my call, and so I use the predefined process box here for my call to that function. when it comes back with my value, then I would do my process step, create my total, and then I would create my I would have this terminator symbol here. Okay, and so now if I wanted to, before I connect those, I'll go ahead and do my start here. And then here on my data, I could simply say input num desk. Let's see, was that what it was? And num lamps or num tables. I think it was first. Let me look at what was S first. Input how many desk lamps and then how many coffee tables. Okay. Num lamps. Num. Oops. Use my tab or something there, and that does not work in here. Okay, so then num, I'm probably going to have to stretch this out a little bit. Num tables, and there again. Okay, let me see how I think if I say no. I think if I say shift enter is what it makes me do in here. Yeah, there we go. Num tables, num lamps. And then I also went ahead and asked for wood type, right? Wood type. Now, actually, my variable names, and because I don't have that pulled up right here, I can't recall what exactly my variable names are. But I should match my variable names and keep them consistent throughout my pseudocode flowchart and then the actual Python. So I'll go back and change those here in just a minute. Okay, my predefined process then would be the call. So I would just say, let me think. I think I put coffee table costs. So in there, when I made the call, I said, cost of wood equals wood type wood. All right, so I need to go back here and make this just wood because the actual name of the function is going to be wood type. Okay, so here I would say cost equals wood type, and I want to pass wood to that predefined process. Okay, there we go. Now I make them back even. Okay, and so once I get that cost of wood back, then I can do my calculation, which is, and here now we did not use constants, and we really need to use constants. So I will define the constants up at the top of the main for these two. And I will call, okay, so let's just change some of this total or invoice amount or whatever I want to call it. Total equals number lamps, oops, lamps times, and that would be lamp cost. So let's make that all caps, and we're going to make it a actual constant. And then I'll be able to take this and make this my pseudocode. Okay, so that will tell me the cost of the lamps. plus, it would be, let's go down here and say plus num tables, oops, num tables, and we want that in parentheses also, just to be on the safe side, plus, or I'm sorry, times the table cost. So that'll be another constant that needs to be defined in the main. Number tables times table cost, but actually we need to find out what the cost of the tables are according to whatever came back as the cost of the wood. So let me go back and see exactly how I did that. Okay, here I tested if it was mahogany. So I need to add that table cost to, I'm sorry, the wood, the cost here to table cost before I multiply it. So I would say table cost, actually got it backwards here, table cost plus cost, which was actually cost of the wood, plus cost, and then that would be times number tables. And this should also be capital so that the variables, it's very important that your variables follow through. And I know I'm kind of doing this on the fly, so I've got to go back and make sure that is the case. And here what I might want to go ahead and do is put this in parentheses. And then I'm going to need another one here. So that then it will multiply the, what is it, 155 plus whatever was the additional cost of the table, and then multiply that times the number of tables to get the total. And so then here would simply print totals. Total. But it also said to print all input. So I would, above that, I would actually print the number of, so I could see what I did, number of lamps, number of tables, wood type, and then the grand total, or just the total is what it's called. Okay, let me stretch this out so we can see all of that. Oh, where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, and move that over here, move my terminator. So they should be lined up there, and this would be end. And so now I have, and I will have to put my lines over there. Now I need to start over here with the one which is called wood type. Just a second. I'll be on a minute. With wood type, and then I need to make a box here for my constants, which I also need to do up here. I didn't put that in. Constants need to go cost equal, just so I put them in somewhere here. Let me move this up a little bit. Maybe I can without moving all of them, but probably not. So let's string this one down. Show me more space. And I need to put those, define those constants in here that I'm using. Still don't know if I have room. I'll put a small process box. Maybe it'll let me. There we go. Okay, this would be, what did I call that? Lamp cost underscore cost equals 65. And then table cost equals 155. Okay, so there is where I defined them. Okay, so over here in this function, I need to also have some constants defined. So I'll pull that over there. Then I need, do I have any input? It would help if I had some of y'all helping me here as far as answering, and I know we don't have anybody logged in. So then I go ahead, set up my constants. Then I set up a variable that I'll pass back. And then I do my if else. So here's where I have my variables. You notice if it's not oak or mahogany, then I go ahead and just fall out. I really need to also put here an else at the very end for setting it, setting coffee table to, well, I did that up here. So it is set to 0, float 0. That's the reason I did that, is because if it does not select mahogany or oak, then it does set coffee table to 0, and that's what it passes back. My input is still down here, so whatever was input into wood, when I output wood, I did not do that in my pseudocode. I need to go back and change the pseudocode, which I can do that also. But here's wood type. So I'm going to define my my constants. Then I'm going to come over here with a decision. And then on the decision, if it is, let's see, what is it? If it is mahogany, then I'm going to say yes. To make sure I did find out how to do these lines straight, I think somewhere it told me, yeah, straight line is there right here. If I do this one, it comes out a little better. Okay, so if the decision is yes, then I'm going to do a step where I set it equal to mahogany. If it's no, go over here, have another, then it's going to go actually to the else side. Oops, that is supposed to still be a straight line. I don't know why it changed on me. I move it up. All right, then it will do a certain step there. If else is yes. If it's no, then it's going to test it for oak. So actually I need another decision, don't I? Not the process step. So here I would, let me take this off too, and this. Okay, so let's look at that again. And up here, if it's mahogany, yes it is, then it makes it equal to mahogany and drops out to the return. Else, I need another if. So if it's not mahogany, then I need another if statement. This if statement, I'm going to come down from here. This would be my no side. And here I would need another decision. And then if there's nothing that you do on the no side, you'd go ahead and go out. So this would be the no. Oops. Nope, I don't want to do that. So if it's yes, it goes this way. And if it's yes, it's going to do another process box and set it to oak. If it's no, then we're done. And we have our terminator, which is actually just says return coffee. Oops. Actually, I'm going to change that to just say return. Oops. Up here in my process step, I need to set that float to 0. So let's just call this table return table. Table C for the cost. All right, so up here, I need to go inside here. I need to set my MAH. MAH is a constant equal to, I believe it was 75. And then OAK equal to maybe 50. I believe that's right. Let me go over here again and make sure. 75 and 100. Okay, 75 and 100. And then also I will set my table cost equal to 0. So there are those. Then my decision is if, oops, if what did I pass it in as? Let me see that. WT wood type. Okay, so, and I'm going to say up here, this wood type, WT. All right, so if WT equal, I can do double equal so I won't forget that's how I do it. If double T equals MAHOGANY, and when I tell the user here what to enter, I want to be careful and be sure that I caution them about entering it in all lowercase. So when I do my print to the screen, I can do that. Oh, wait a minute. If I process it as yes, I did something wrong here. I'm gonna have to change this because there's nowhere for that to go to the end to fall out. Okay, I'm going to take my lines off because I did not set that up right. Okay, so okay, because this needs to come down and they both need to join somewhere here. So this one, actually, if it's yes, if it's no, so the way I first had it was better. If it's no, oh, if it's, I'm still not right. Sorry about that. Okay, this one will go here. It's gonna go here. If it's the no side, it's going to go to this decision. If it's yes on this branch, it's going to go here. if I can get this thing done correctly. Now, and then this one is no. And then this one is also no. They're going to all go into what's called a connector here, because they all need to go into the same connector. And that's how you do that. Just so you have a way in and out from each one. And if you do flowcharts different than this, no problem. I'm kind of, I'm not a flowchart person. I'm a pseudocode person. So here is, and let me see if I can make this line a little straighter, maybe. There we go. And so now what we have, and I don't have those connected. Let me get those connected. Process, is that right? I think this would probably look better if it, there we go. Okay, so if it's oak, if it's here, what we would do is set, if it's mahogany, then we would say, how did I do that? If it's mahogany, then that's what I was thinking. Okay, then coffee table, or which I called it table C, would be equal to caps MAH, which would set table C equal to 75. Over here, would say if WT equals oak, then yes it does, then it would say table C is equal to OAK. If it's not, then it's going to go, this connector, then it's going to return table C. This way, it's going to go to the connector, return table C. Here, if it's on the no side, it's just going to drop out. And so whatever, that means it was pine, and it would still be set there. So now I need to connect all of these, and then I believe that will be a lot better off. Get it there to there, there. Now, the easy thing to do is either if you've done your flowchart first or your pseudocode first, then I would just take the code and copy and paste it into a paragraph type format from my flowchart. Whereas if I did the pseudocode first, I would do it the other way around. So I'm going to save, oops, not there, save this file. Save it as project 2 in here, but then I also will download it as a PDF. Project 2, and it will go on my Google Drive, Spring 18, CIT13 projects, and this is it. Only I'm going to say that this is the flow. So I'll save it there. And so now I have the flow chart. Now, I'm not going to go back and do the pseudocode, but if you all have any questions about that, you can email me if you want to go ahead to practice it and put this into pseudocode, or I can do it at a later time. I'm kind of getting pressed for time here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the project 2 running in Python. Okay, so here is what we saw actually as the pseudocode. And what I really want to go and do, welcome to the Maths Brothers. There I have defined those as constants. I would really prefer that those be all caps. So I'm going to go in and change that. Tables. And if you're watching me do this, then you'll know that I also have to change that here. And let's see, I believe that by tables, by lamps. Now, the only total for tables, total for lamps, grand totals, total tables plus total lamps. And you'll notice up here is where I added the cost of the wood right here. All right, so let's see how this does. File, save, run module. And let me see if I'm looking in my if statement for lowercase. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to say I bought, oh, tables are first. Huh, that's backwards. 3, 2, and then what type of wood? Let's say MAHOGANY first. Oops, I got all caps on, so it would not find it. Uh-oh, problem with this. Total lamps. Oh, okay. Total, where'd that go? Total lamps equals by lamps times. You see the difference here. What happens if you don't remember? But it makes more sense to have the constants that way. File, save. Okay, so we're buying the tables first, and then the, what type of wood? MAH. Oops, there we go again. MAHOGANY. There we go. And you'll notice that we did get this here. So that is what it told me on my problem that I should get. And for sake of time, I'm not going to run it again. But also, this is the total of tables, the total for lamps. I would also like you to state the wood type. So if I was going to go back in there, I would say, I'm going to just copy this. Oh, actually, I don't need to, because all I need to say here is print. And inside there, I would say the wood type for the coffee tables is, and then I would just put space so it won't be right up against it, is, should print it out. I don't think I even need a comma there. What did I input that as? Total lamps print wood equals wood. Oh, yeah, I think I do want to put a new line in there. Let's do that. Not new line. Let's see, is that right? Let's see if this works right. I'm not sure if that's going to print out correctly, but we'll try it. Okay, file, save, because this print is a little different than JavaScript, which is Nope, it doesn't like that. So let me go down here. It doesn't like that wood. We have to put a comma. I don't know. Three, enter two, enter what type of wood? MAHOGA1. Okay, there we go. It did put mahogany on the next line. That's it. I really didn't intend that. I wanted it to go new line after that. But anyway, there is the Python running, and I will post a zipped file in Evernote with all of this that I've put here on the screen, so you will have that. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'm going to go ahead and end the Hangout now. Here.